Hello. Today I want to speak on initiatives and referendums in Arizona. My name is Lady Roche, and I'm gonna try to help explain it, and hopefully I make it very clear. All right, when we talk about an initiative and a referendum, we need to know what it means. So an initiative is a process that allows citizens to propose new legislation or constitutional amendments by collecting a specific number of signatures on a petition. If enough people sign or enough valid signatures are there, then the measure is placed on a ballot and then people vote and decide on it. A referendum is a process where citizens can vote directly on a specific law or policy, where certain legislative actions must be referred to a popular vote, or optional, where a vote is triggered by a petition from a specified number of voters. Referendums can involve approving or rejecting existing laws or policies. Next, we'll talk about creating initiatives and referendums. Initiatives are created through a process where any citizen or organization gathers a predetermined number of signatures to qualify a measure to be placed on a ballot for a future election. These initiatives can be further divided into two main types. The constitutional amendments, which are initiatives that aim to amend the Constitution and typically require more signatures to qualify for a ballot. Statutory initiatives, these initiatives focus on proposing a new statute or law and usually require fewer signatures compared to constitutional amendments. So again, we say constitutional amendments need more signatures and statutory ones need less. So the process of initiative. Signature collection. The first step in creating an initiative is gathering a required number of signatures from eligible voters within the state. Once the signatures are collected, the initiative is submitted to the relevant authorities for verification. So it's not just simply to get the signatures, because we've seen so many instances of voter fraud and voters not being really eligible to vote, that they have to make sure that all the signatures are verified. After that, in some states, if an initiative is indirect, meaning it goes through a legislative review process, then the proposed measure is first considered by state or local legislative bodies, and it's put on a ballot placement. If the legislative body does not pass a proposed law in the right time frame, if it's an indirect initiative that requires approval from voters, then the initiative is placed on a ballot for voters to decide. Referendums, also known as veto referendums or citizens' vetoes, allow citizens to collect signatures to ask voters whether to uphold or repeal an enacted law. So now we're going to kind of go into what's the process for referendum, because we've discussed what initiatives or referendums are. We've discussed the two different types. So now we're going to learn about the process of referendum. Sorry, I have a list. Similar to initiatives, citizens collect signatures to trigger a referendum on an existing law. Signatures are verified by authorities to ensure they meet required criteria. Then, once valid signatures are confirmed, the referendum is placed. The referendum in question is placed on the ballot for voters to decide whether to uphold or repeal the law. A comparison of the initiative referendum means initiative is a way for people to suggest new laws and changes to the Constitution. People start initiatives by writing up ideas and petitioning to put them on the ballot so that people can vote on them. The submission is the proposed initiative needs enough support, which generally comes from in the form of a certain number of signatures from registered voters. Sorry, I had to keep it in mind. Different kinds of ideas can come from direct or indirect sources. In the indirect process, ideas go right to the ballot so that everyone can vote on them. In the indirect process, it goes to the legislature, which can agree with them or come up with an alternative. A referendum is a way of people to decide whether to keep a law that was passed by the government or get rid of it. So it's kind of like fixing something that was already there or saying it's not working. Referendums start with the government, where the assembly puts laws to the people to decide whether to accept or reject them. Referendums can be required or not. Mandatory referendums are needed for some types of legislation, like changing the Constitution. Optional referendums can be started by a petition signed by a certain number of people. So, for example, voters can also be asked to give their opinion on a bill or optional referendum, which can be either binding or advisory, meaning that the binding is just that it is, and advisory you're given like an opinion or a suggestion. Initiative In initiative, people come up with ideas for laws, while in referendums, governments put forward laws for people to vote on or against. The process for submitting initiatives needs signatures from voters before they can be put on a ballot. Referendums, on the other hand, can be required by certain governmental classes or started by a voter petition, meaning that we, the people, can make our own petition for something. Then the decision is made. Initiatives are usually decided directly by the people after meeting the requirements, while referendums ask people to either uphold or overturn laws made by the legislature. To sum it up, initiatives give people the power to directly suggest laws, meaning we see what's going on and we know what needs to change and what needs to happen. While referendums give voters a say in whether to uphold or overturn laws that government has already passed. Now, here are some pros and cons for referendums and initiatives. Referendums make sure that electors have a direct say in big choices, which make democracy more accountable. Referendums can get people talking and debating about important topics, which can lead to more of civic participation. Because when people are involved in the decision making or the laws, they become invested. They feel, okay, my vote, my voice means something. Referendums give people so I'm sorry. Whew, I gotta catch my breath. Referendums give choices that people don't agree with legitimacy because they show what people, not just elected officials, want. Meaning it makes it more real because they had a vote in it. Things that are not good about referendums and initiatives. Simplifying difficult issues. You can't make an issue that's been going on for decades fit into a simple law. It doesn't work that way. Because referendums often turn difficult policy issues into 2 or 3 options, which could cause people to make bad decisions. Referendums can make society more divided by putting problems in terms that make people disagree and by picking winners and losers among different groups of people. Like initiatives, referendums can be swayed by political players or special interest groups that want to change public opinion to help themselves. Direct democracy in the Constitution in the Constitution of Arizona. Like many other states, constitutions in the US, the Arizona Constitution uses part of direct democracy to give people a bigger say in how laws are made. In direct democracy, people can propose new laws and changes to existing ones, and they can vote on them directly instead of going through elected officials. Direct democracy is a way to try to make the government more sensitive to what people want by letting them be more involved in making laws. One way it does this is by using initiative, which let people propose laws for new laws or current changes to ones by getting a certain number of signatures. Hold on, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. My computer was dying. So One way it does this is by using initiatives will let people propose new laws or changes to the current ones by getting a certain number of signatures from people who are registered to vote. Once a necessary number of signatures are collected, the suggested initiative is put on. If enough people vote for the measure, it will become a law. The Arizona Constitution also includes the referendum as a direct form of democracy. This is how people can question whether or not a law should be passed by the state assembly, as long as enough signatures are gathered within a certain amount of time. The rule is put on hold until an election can be held. If the voters decide not to support the bill, it will be thrown out. Initiatives and referendums work together to support direct democracy in Arizona. They give people the power to directly affect laws and hold elected officials responsible. People are put at the center of policymaking by these steps, and their opinions are heard between the few times a year when they can vote for the representative they want. Additionally, the Arizona Constitution says that people can use direct democracy tools like proposals and referendums to have a bigger effect on government and directly affect laws. So I really hope that I explained it and that I kind of made it enjoyable. So thank you for listening. Have a great day.